Controlling the clock is one of the key pieces to being an effective salesperson. And what I mean by that is that so often we put prospects in the driver's seat. And I consistently say that part of being a great salesperson is leadership. And leadership also means controlling how meetings go and how the clock gets used. Let me give for you an example. It's pretty typical when people set a meeting that they make a meeting for 60 minutes. It's 1 hour within the clock. And so often what happens is if I start that meeting, that people run all the way to about the 55-minute mark, maybe 50 minutes in, and there's this little sliver of time left, and this is their period that they have to close. And what this does is it creates all sorts of artificial anxiety. I know I've only got 5 minutes left. The prospective client or buyer knows that if they can really just stall me for a little while longer, they have that option to be able to say, geez, you know what, we'll have to get together again sometime later. Geez, we'll have to do this in a second meeting. And so I always wonder why salespeople like to leave the idea of closing or actually asking about the sale or asking to buy to the last minute. Most of the time it's an issue for the salesperson. So here's my suggestion. In the first 5 minutes of a meeting, what I want you to be able to do is outline for people an agenda. And the agenda is going to simply give them an idea of the questions you're going to ask, what's going to be covered. And it might sound something like this, that we're going to talk a little bit about me and I'm going to explain more about my company. Then we're going to spend most of the time talking about you, your needs, what we might be able to do for you. And if at the end of this meeting we both see a fit, I'd like to spend the last 5 or 10 minutes talking about our next steps and how we move forward towards a sale. It's the kind of thing that I end with, is that okay with you? I ask for permission and people always say yes. They love the idea that I'm taking charge of the meeting. And the great part about that is if people aren't ready to buy, I find out about it in the first 5 minutes and I have the whole hour to continue to talk and do the sale. And oftentimes what happens is the issues they have in the first 5 minutes fade away, or I know at least where to focus things. But by using an agenda, letting people know that the purpose of the meeting is to actually sell something or do a transaction, it eliminates that false pressure of closing in the last 5 minutes, and that's usually where people get awkward. So think about an agenda, explain to people what the purpose is early, and don't worry about trying to close in the last 5 minutes, and you'll be much more effective using the clock as a salesperson.